3.2%, that's awesome, right? The Fed's saying they want a 2% rise in inflation. We got 3.2, we're nearly there. Inflation's not a problem anymore. No. No. That's not how this works, right? Do not be gaslit at people saying that inflation is done, that inflation is toast, that inflation is over. That is not true. In fact, inflation is still wreaking havoc on everybody out there, especially the people who are making the least, right? Inflation rises 3.2% in October. That's less than expected, but that doesn't mean that things are in the right direction. They're trying to gaslight you, right? The media is trying to tell you that everything is good. Everything is hunky-dory. Everything is back to normal. Hey, 3.2%, that's awesome, right? The Fed's saying they want a 2% rise in inflation. We got 3.2, we're nearly there. Inflation's not a problem anymore. No. That's not how this works, right? Take a look at this graph here. This graph is inflation over the decade, right? And you can see that it hovered around 2%, give or take. And then it spiked, I was going to say spoke, it spiked super high up to 9.1%. And now it's coming back down. But let's think of the math behind this, right? If inflation had been going up, let's say 2% or so this entire time, you're saying that if something cost $100, year one, it costs 102. Year two, it costs 2% more. So 104 and 20 cents or whatever the case is. And then year three, right? It's compounding. It's compounding. In fact, let's do the math together here, right? So year one, if it's 100 times 0.02, right? And we do that again, plus 100. And we do that again times 1.02. That's what I was looking for. And then we do it again, and 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 then we do it again, right? It compounds. It goes up. So it doesn't go up by $2 each time. It goes up by $2 plus. And then as you keep going, it's going up by $10, $20, $50 or more, right? Now let's take a look at what this chart did. It spiked from 1.7% to 9.1%, okay? So if we go 100 times 1.017, that's a 1.7%. So your item that cost 100 is now 101.7. Now we're going to do it times 9%, 1.091. It's now $110. Okay. But now they're trying to tell you that inflation at 3.2% means inflation is not a problem anymore. Let's do the math. Okay. Times 1.032. Oh man, I lost it. Let me do it again. So 100 times 1.017 times 1.91. There we go. Now times 1.032. So a 3.2% rise in inflation makes it 114. So in the last handful of years, you've seen something go from $100 to $101 to $110 to $114. And they're trying to tell you now, when prices are at $114, that inflation is not a problem anymore. This is 14.5% higher, but inflation is not a problem anymore. And this is on the low end. I mean, you go into a grocery store, every single thing you buy costs, it feels like 50%, 100% more. So it's costing twice as much to buy the same amount of groceries. What are you going to do, right? This is not how a sustainable economy works. This is an economy out of control. And yes, inflation is coming back down, but you're still paying higher prices on top of the already higher prices. You're still paying higher prices on top of the already higher prices. So it's not like things are actually better. Things are getting worse, but they're getting worse slowly. They're getting worse. They're getting worse at a slower pace is the way to look at it. So let's take a look at what the article says here. Inflation eased in October for the first time in months, providing some welcome relief to American consumers who have been crushed by unrelenting price increases. The Labor Department said that the Consumer Price Index, a broad measure of the price of everyday goods, including gas and rent, was unchanged in October. We all know that's not the truth. Prices climbed 3.2% from the same time last year. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Don't be gaslit into thinking that things are better. Things will be better when we have disinflation, when we have deflation. When instead of going from 100 to 101 to 110 to 114, we go from 114 back to 110, back to 101, back to 100. That is when I will start celebrating. I'm not celebrating right now watching prices go from 110 to 114, but going from 114 back to 110, that I can get on board with, right? Core prices, which exclude more volatile measurements like food and energy, climbed 0.2% or 4% annually. Like I say, don't be gaslit into thinking that it climbed only 0.2%. No, sir. No, ma'am. No non-binary. We are talking about a 4% increase on top of the 9% increase, okay? The report indicates that while inflation has fallen considerably, it remains above the Fed's 2% target. High inflation creates severe financial pressure for most U.S. households, we all know that, which are forced to pay more for everyday necessities like food and rent. The burden is disproportionately borne by low-income Americans whose already stretched paychecks are heavily affected by price fluctuations. Yeah. We all know that. The price of gasoline plunged 5% last month and is down 5.3% for the same time last year. Thank goodness. But I can tell you there's plenty of places out there that are not seeing a 5% decrease in gas. The cost of used cars dropped a whole 0.8% last month, and it's down 7% from the same time last year. Airline tickets also fell, right? And so shelter costs, which are the largest contributor to core inflation, continue to rise, right? Rent, housing, they continue to rise. They're up 6.7% over the last year. Food prices, which are a visceral reminder of inflation for many Americans, also inched higher in October. Grocery costs rose 0.3, up from 0.1 in September, and are up 2.1% with the same time last year. Give me a break. Give me a break. You have not gone to the grocery store and seen a 2% rise, right? You have not gone to the grocery store and only paid 2% more for your milk and cereal. I've told this story before, but recently I went to the store to get milk and cereal. I bought 2 jugs of Fairlife milk and 1 bag of Fruit Loop cereal. It was $17. $17 for milk and cereal. And yet they want to tell you that, listen, it's only gone up 2%. You can handle 2%, right? 2%'s not much. Who cares? It's just 2 pennies on every dollar. It doesn't matter to you. Nah, dude. Every penny matters these days. And let's go take a look at a stock that doesn't really get impacted by a rise in inflation. And no matter what inflation is going to do, it's going to continue to hold strong. Waste management, right? Waste management's one of those stocks where it's like, everybody's going to need their trash removed forever. I can't imagine any time where there is a time where nobody has no trash. So of course, when I think about an inflation play, I think about waste management. And waste management actually got a buy signal back on November 6th. And if you had been following these signals, you'd have seen a 77.38% return following these AI trading signals. So if you want to be one of the first people to get your hands on these AI trading signals every single day, be sure to head to ovtlyr.com to see why outliers win. Now let's take a look at what the people are saying, what the internet's saying about this, right? So breaking news, inflation rises 3.2% in October. Hey, that's less than expected. Less than expected? That's still way too dang high, right? It's all good. We'll be glad to eat the bug soon. That's what, what's his name? Klaus Schwab wants everybody to do. Eat the bugs? No thanks. French crepes, the food of the hard American worker, right? They're talking about here. It is funny that this is the picture in French crepes are what they're showing here. All-time highs incoming on inflation. This is due to Biden. This is still a burden added to the backs of those with 0% raises. But you know what's, it's been perplexing me and I still don't understand. Why does the YouTube algorithm work this way? It tells me that one of these 2 videos is going to be the one that you absolutely love to watch next. So click here to watch more and we'll see you on the next episode.